Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's way past time that I cover Chapter 2 and shortly hereafter Chapter 3 of the storyline for Kaldheim. I put it off because I was busy and because these videos get absolutely no views and are completely not worth my time. But Wizards hasn't, as far as I know, massively screwed up anything this weekend, so I guess I'll cover this. That's actually not true. They put the wrong die in the pre-release kits and then lied about it. So anyway, this chapter is called Awaken the Trolls. It starts with, in the bottom of the longship of Cosima, Kaya lay back and watched the night sky above drift by. She's going to hunt down, what's his name, Vorinclex or something like that. She already stabbed him, and then he disappeared through a cave wall, which somehow leads him to another realm. I don't get it either. So Kaya met some old dude who was actually all ruined in disguise, and he was like, here, take my magic awesome boat. So she took like one step on the boat, and it was just like, lol, bye, and then just takes off. But she did remember him saying that this boat would take her where she needs to go, and apparently that meant automatically and immediately. So they make up some BS excuse why planeswalkers can't just planeswalk to different realms, like from one to the other. It makes absolutely no sense and doesn't explain if, like, the realm that she's in is the default landing realm for the plane. But yeah, apparently crossing the cosmos was no small task, because story. But wait, because the story needed it, there are temporary links between two realms that would open up called Omen Paths. Good thing she landed in Omenville with the Omen speakers, as opposed to the other 9 realms. What fortuitous luck. So Omen Path, good. Doomscar, bad. That's the celestial collisions that seemed invariably to lead to calamity. For example, the last time that Bretakard collided with Karfell, a frozen land of wraiths and walking corpses, which is responsible for most of the problems with this set design, a legion of the undead made it all the way to the Beskir's stronghold before it was defeated. So I guess after that disaster, they at least thought, well, at least in all of recorded history, we've never had a Doomscar with Immersturm, the realm of demons. So if she planeswalked away from the plane of Kaldheim and then planeswalked back, she's saying that she'd have no control about what realm she lands in, because she says she can't go realm to realm with her planeswalker's abilities. But like I said, is Bretagard just the default landing zone for all planeswalkers in the realm? If they want to go to another one, well, get on a magic boat and find a very convenient to the story Omen Path. If any time in any of the other chapters or side stories or anything, a planeswalker lands in a different realm, I am going to bring this right back up, I assure you. So the ship eventually bumps into something, wakes her up because she fell asleep on it, and then so she's like, oh, I better get off there, I guess. And then as soon as she does, the boat bails on her. Just, guess you're here now. And then immediately she thought, what if the monster hops realms again? Yep. So she doesn't know what realm she's in. She probably doesn't even know the names of the other realms, honestly, because she just got here. But everything here is like turbo old, like the ruins and crumbled building structures, even the trees. And she's like, I hang out in some, old dead places, but damn. She did find one intact structure, and it had kind of an archway built out of stone. And she's like, I wonder why the doorway needed to be 20 feet tall. Just then she heard some voices in the distance, so she came out to a clearing after following it and found some trolls walking around. So she kind of keeps an eye on the trolls, and it turns out they're all gathering in some big group at some big block of stone to hear some guy talk. And when he steps out, he says, hey, I'm the god, what'd they choose instead of Loki? Oh, Valky. He's like, hey, everybody calls me the Prince of Mischief, the God of Lies, but I'm not going to follow up on that sentence or deny it at all. Here, let me tell you some things that are really important. So he's like, hey, there's some crap coming. It's going to be bad. A path will open to cruel and strange worlds filled with creatures of great avarice and wickedness. If allowed, these savage peoples, will burn the forests of Notvold to the ground. Oh, so they're in Troll-ville. That explains why there's trolls. That explains why this is called Awaken the Trolls. So then he goes on, okay, our only option is to attack first. Stop arguing amongst yourselves and go do something productive together. So as Kaya watches him, she's like, hey, wait a minute. He's like kind of glowing. Like it's really subtle, but she's used to seeing insubstantial forms and energy flows that are really subtle. And she's like, okay, he's using some kind of illusion magic. That's interesting. So she just kind of prepared a little purification spell for him. A little seeing beyond the veil thrown in. Then she gently blew it towards Velky, with little motes of white light exiting her pursed lips. The spell tumbled forward, air swirling around it, whipping into a gale. As soon as the wind hit Velky, it seemed to strip the Velky right off of him. I love that phrasing. In place of the god of lies stood a red-skinned man with 2 prominent horns and a very surprised expression on his face. "Who dares to... Show yourself," he spat angrily. So then for some reason she says to herself, "Bad idea." I don't know if she meant the spell or stepping out to be like, "Hey, what's up?" Probably stepping out to say what's up, although Tybalt is like weak as crap, so I mean, come on. So she stepped out from behind the tree and says, "Probably thought you could get away with a sloppy illusion, right? Dumb trolls won't know the difference. Bad luck for you, Tybalt." Oh, I guess she met him on Ravnica. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Although he does say, "Hey, I don't know who you are," but he recognizes that she knows who he is because she knew his name. And she just explains, "Well, your reputation precedes you. And, how many devil planeswalkers are there?" Apparently he actually is a devil. And so he's like, "Oh, and to whom do I owe the pleasure?" She says, "My name's Kaya." And he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, that rings a bell. A sneak and a thief. And if I remember correctly, a killer." "Quite the accusation coming from you," she says to him. So he just shrugs and says, "Oh yes, you're from Kaya's Discount Assassinations. We kill him, then bill him, then get some chicken. I've heard your ads on the radio on Ravnica." So the dumb trolls were just like, "What's going on here?" And then finally one of the very larger ones kind of, blasted through the crowd, pushing the smaller trolls out of his way. And he's just like, "I don't know who this is. I'm going to attack Kaya, whatever." So she went all incorporeal and he went sailing through her, and then the second one tried to jab at her with a rusty, ancient-looking sword. All their equipment was like totally trashed, by the way. It says she sidestepped it and then shoved him hard. Yeah, I think he has her on weight class by a little bit. But she allegedly pushed him into a tree, turned him incorporeal, and then turned him back into physical form in the middle of the tree. Sounds like a classic D&D teleportation accident. Nasty stuff. So after seeing that, the rest of the trolls were like, "Okay, we're out of here." But while she was dealing with the trolls, it looks like Tybalt made a run for it, but she followed him for some reason. So apparently Tybalt's not very athletic because he had to stop and catch his breath, and she's just like, "Okay, now what? Why are you fooling a bunch of trolls with an illusion? That's dumb." So he claims he's just causing mayhem. He just wants people to fight because he thinks it's funny. So then she's just like, "Hey, I'm hunting a monster, something from not this plane. Would you have anything to do with bringing it here?" And he's just like, "Oh, a monster? Why, I'm shivering in my boots. I positively must find somewhere to hide. Let me just..." And she's like, "You're not going anywhere." So she's all, "Ooh, you don't have your troll friends to help you. Now answer my questions." And he's all like, "Actually, you met those trolls, but have you met the other type of troll?" And she's like, "No." So he whistles. And then nobody shows up, and she's thinking, well, I guess they're not as good of friends as you thought. And then one of the hills in the area basically gets up, and it's not a hill. It's just a sleeping troll, because they hibernate for like lots of years. So Tybalt didn't make the whistling noise so much to, say, "Hey, come help me." It was more he just wanted to wake them up because they hate being woken up. So she's like, "Are you crazy? They'll kill us both." And he pulls out some crazy sword that's like all kinds of weird colors. But she's like, "Hey, wait a minute. The last time I saw glowing like that's all different colors, it was the aura spilling off of Alrund himself." Huh. And the sword appeared to be made from some kind of glass. So suddenly a hole in the world appeared next to him, and he's like, well, bye. Good luck with the trolls." And it says that he goes to another realm that she could see pretty clearly through the hole that's, volcanic and, has black smoke and all that. So obviously it's the demon realm. I forgot which one that's called. See, Tybalt knows what's up. Before you go on a big mission, upgrade all your gear and do all of the side quests. I guarantee she would have said, "Where'd you get that sword?" He'd be like, random side quest. I love that joke about RPGs where it's like, "Oh, at level 1 in the game, you're like, go find the neighbor's missing kitten and gather 6 berries." And then it's like, level 50, teleport to the moon and kill the false god before he eats the entire timeline. You gotta level up a ways before you go kill one of the praetors, just saying. You gotta loot up on them side quests, man. Side quests are the key. So, I like Kaya, but I don't know about this tactic. She's like, Maybe I could do this without a fight. Listen, the guy who woke you up, he just stepped out, but if you'll give me just a minute to explain myself. And then one of the trolls that looks angry about being woken up by the unbelievably loud, probably magically enhanced whistle. I didn't say that earlier, but yeah, he just swings at her open palm like he was trying to squash a bug. So it says she, quote, phased out of the way, and I mean, oh, so you mean turned incorporeal? But it says, no, even clear of the blow, so she phased out of the way, whatever that is. I'm not too familiar with her powers. The impact rattled her teeth. So then she just goes, okay, I tried, and then jabs her blades into the troll's arm. Or at least she tried to. She says his arm felt like a hunk of rock. And one of her 2 daggers broke in 2. Whoops. And that distracted her just long enough for him to slap the COVID off of her. He knocked her across the clearing. So she's dodging around, turning incorporeal to dodge, entire trees. And she takes a slashing blow against one of their legs, and it leaves basically no injury. Usually when I'm playing some kind of RPG or really any game, as soon as I go, well, I tried, and then we go full stealth is optional, Usually it goes better. She is not properly leveled for this area. Or is she? Because she's like, okay, time to fight dirty. So she jumps up, wraps her blade in her ethereal energy, in other words, turns it incorporeal, and then she jabs it between 2 huge vertebrae, but then yanked her hand out just in time to have it rematerialize outside of his body, but the dagger was inside of his body. And he just absolutely hit the ground. That's instant paralysis right there, if not death. So one of the ones she hit earlier just totally blindsides her again, because apparently she has really poor spatial awareness and tactics. Just then, Mr. Deus Ex Machina himself, Tyver Kell, shows up and says, need a hand? So all you need to know about his description is he was shirtless despite the cold. Yeah, we all know that type. So he jumps down, kind of gets the attention of the trolls, and dances around. He's so unbelievably fast that anytime they try to hit him, and they're very slow, they miss. And it looks like he didn't even break a sweat trying to dodge them. He said something about a secret weapon and said that it was this little pebble he was holding. But he gripped it in his fist, and it was like turning the skin on that hand into some sort of rock. And then instead of using his cool stone fist to punch one of the trolls, he just sort of touches it on the leg and starts turning the troll to stone as well. So that neat trick quickly turned the troll into a stone statue. So one of the other trolls who was carrying an entire tree swung it at him, and he just vaults over it like it's nothing and then touches his elbow while doing a flip or whatever, turns him into a statue. After less than a minute, they just had some lovely forest artwork to look at and no more live trolls. So finally she's like, who are you? And he introduces himself as Tyver Kell, Prince of the Elves of Skemfar, greatest hero in all the realms, and your personal savior. Oh, I hate elves so much. So she's like, what were you, like, following me? And he's like, no, I was following Velky. And she's like, he's not Velky. So apparently he's like, yeah, I was kind of suspicious of him. Didn't know really what was up, though. But he came and visited my brother in the Elven court or whatever. And he says, I don't know what lies he told Harold, but after that, the elves have been preparing for war. So apparently he tricked them into going to battle, too. So then he says, yeah, I don't know how the legions intend to cross into the realm of the gods, though, which, okay, that's the first I'm hearing about it. Wasn't he just telling the trolls, like, you gotta invade the devil plane because they're coming for you next in the Doomscar? But now they want to invade the realm of the gods, wherever that is. Okay. And then Kaya thinks to herself, oh, the Doomscar. Alrune said there's one coming, so it must be a Doomscar to the god realm. And then it turns out that Alrune lent him the boat, too, to get from Elfyville to Troll-ville. So anyway, she's like, yeah, I'd love to go chase, Tybalt with you, but he used a sword to open a portal, and he's like, oh, what did you see on the other side? And she's like, I don't know, fire in the ground looked charred black. And Tyvar is immediately like, Immersturm. Either that or New Jersey. Hey-o. So she's like, well, unless you got a magic boat, because mine ran away. Which is like the same boat that he took there. Which, by the way, is about to not make an ounce of sense because he starts casting a spell, and then she's like, oh, that looks familiar. That looks like that spell that Alrune cast when he left the realm to go to a different realm. And then, yep, he opened a portal. It shimmered with the nightscape of the cosmos. And then, ta-da, instant portal. That guy knows some good magic. So they're obviously about to go, I guess, chase down Tybalt because she's stuck there anywhere and has no idea where the monster is. But as the portal's sitting there and they're talking, she sees something on his neck, because he's got all kinds of bones and gems and, you know. Because who the heck says you could only wear one neck item? I could stuff 10 necklaces on. You know how many fingers I got? Enough to wear 30 damn rings. Limited to one ring. Come on, D&D, get it together. You already have the attunement limit. But one of them, she's like, oh, that's octahedron made of dark stone with little minute precise etchings. She's like, I have seen this before, but not here. Ah, he said, catching her gaze. He held up the little shaped stone to the light. Feel free to admire it. I found this one in a remote realm, one even the sagas don't speak of. It was called, and she interrupts him, Zendikar. Holy ancients, you're a planeswalker, she says to him. His grin flagged, uncertain. And what exactly is a planeswalker? Wait a minute, did we just go full-blown, like, TLC, I didn't know I was pregnant levels of WTF right now? Which, by the way, that show is bullshit, and my mom watched it, like, twice just so she could say about 37 different times, yes, they did, they're lying, yes, they did, they knew they were pregnant, that's bullshit. I agree. But anyway, I guess he can travel between the realms because in his home realm of Elfville, Skemfar, whatever, the sorcerers are very good at what they do, and just they taught him how to do that, and he considers himself an expert among them, so he can just, you know, travel between realms with magic. And then I guess he was just like, oh, and one day I traveled between these two realms. And I was like, where am I? This isn't the 10 Realms. I've never heard of this place. And then didn't realize that he planeswalked. So on the next episode of I Didn't Know I Was Planeswalking. I don't know. I mean, these stories are getting interesting. I wish they would have at least had a hint of Vorinclex or some kind of, you know, thing where she's like, well, I want to, you know, go after him. Oh, but I want to go after Tybalt because he's starting wars with my people. And then they like make an agreement or something. They just kind of left it. They're just like, oh, here's a portal. What are they going to do? Or they didn't really discuss it. I'm sure it'll happen in chapter 3, which I'll cover, you know, very shortly, probably tomorrow. But I mean, yeah, just pretty wild. At least the author, Roy Grayman, with contributions from Jenna Helland, who, by the way, if you haven't seen a picture of him, which it's like a 20 pixel picture right next to his little, you know, authorship bio tag thing. Well, I mean, for one, cute doggo. And then two, that really looks like David Dobrik. All 10 pixels of him. I don't think it secretly is him writing under a pen name and then showing his face. But, like, seriously, that's him. But anyway, yeah, I think he really nailed it with the elves being arrogant pricks who just run around acting like heroes, saving people and talking about how skillful they are, because that's every elf. I hate them almost as much as I hate the merfolk, and hopefully the entire realm of Skemfar gets destroyed. Will that happen? Well, we'll find out in the next chapter, so stay subscribed, and I'll see you guys next video.